9254CR St. Louis. Powered by Window World. FM News Talk 97.1.
Struggling to stay warm. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. Much of the Midwest and Northeast shivering in Arctic cold that will last through the weekend.
You're talking about a wind chill from negative 25 to negative 40. It's the type of wind chill that can cause frostbite in as little as 10 minutes. Now, tomorrow in Boston, we could be seeing history made, not only in Boston, but across much of the Northeast with some daily record temperatures being broken. Tomorrow could be the coldest January 7th ever in Boston. Boston will have experienced 13 straight days of under 32 degrees, which would mark the fourth longest streak in Boston's history.
Fox's Brian Yennis. Many airline passengers were stranded for hours on the tarmac today at New York's JFK Airport, some of them tweeting they didn't have food or water. The issue was caused by too few gates available to handle a backlog of flights as schedules recovered from Thursday's storm. Immigration, a key issue as President Trump meets with GOP congressional leaders this weekend at Camp David to discuss the legislative agenda.
As you know, the president is phasing out DACA. That's that Obama-era protection program for those brought to the United States illegally as children. Well, the president says that Republicans want to extend those protections, but in exchange, they also want to end chain migration, basically family-based immigration to the country, and the visa lottery program. He says he wants additional spending on border security. We do know that the White House is requesting about $18 billion at first from Congress. As to whether or not Mexico will pay for the wall, as the president said in the end, Mexico will pay for the wall in some way, shape, or form.
Fox's Rich Edson. Jerry Van Dyke, the younger brother of Dick Van Dyke, has died. He was best known for appearing on the ABC sitcom Coach. Van Dyke was 86. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather.
The official FM News Talk 97.1 Weather Center forecast. Increasing cloudiness tonight and cold, low 16, although temperatures rising late at night. Tomorrow cloudy with periods of rain for late morning on. The rain freezing on untreated surfaces for a time, so watch for slippery roads and sidewalks. High late tomorrow, 38. Occasional rain tomorrow night, mainly before midnight. Low near 32. This is meteorologist Bob Larson for FM News Talk 97.1.
Due to the recent drought and dry soil conditions, homes in our area are experiencing settlement problems within their home and foundation. Warning signs to look for are cracks in your foundation or exterior brickwork, plaster and drywall cracks and separation, sticking windows and doors, and separations around door and window openings. If your home is showing any of these signs, please call the foundation experts at Midwest Basement Tech. They're offering free foundation inspections to evaluate any problems that may be affecting your home's foundation and can provide you with repair recommendations and costs if repair is needed. The certified technicians at Midwest use only patented engineered products and offer a transferable warranty for your home's protection. They're now in their 40th year solving foundation and waterproofing issues on both sides of the river and have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Call Midwest Basement Tech today and take advantage of winter pricing, and financing is available. Call 800-848-9805. That's 800-848-9805 or visit MidwestBasementTech.com.
Hi, I'm Tammy of Tammy Mitchell Hines & Company Real Estate Team, and we want to be the realtors to help you buy or sell your next home. Are you thinking about selling your house? Well, now is the perfect time. Homes are selling faster than ever if they are priced right and well staged. We also know that buying a home is one of the biggest investments you may ever make, but that doesn't mean it has to be stressful. Our amazing team of full-time realtors can help guide you through the entire process from beginning to end, including setting you up with one of our 3 moving trucks so you can move for free. We are consistently ranked the #1 independent real estate team in southwestern Illinois. Tammy Mitchell Hines & Company Real Estate knows how to get things done. We sell a house every 30 hours. With over 22 years of experience, I am confident that we can help you accomplish your goals. I believe buying or selling a home is not just a transaction, it's a relationship. So whether you are buying a home or selling a home in the Metro East, go to calltammy.com. That's calltammy.com.
Hi, this is Curtis Stone. You name a dish and I've prepared it thousands of times. But even I can't cook enough to feed all of the 17 million kids in America who are struggling with hunger. That's where the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks comes in. They gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. We call them food angels, and you can be one too. Earn your wings at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plato and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey! The dreaded splash fight. It's Dad o'clock, and it's the best time of the day. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The news of the day.
8 to 12 inches of snow up along the East Coast.
Very cold temperatures.
Minus 13 degrees.
Every day.
Did Steve Bannon betray you, Mr. President?
He called me a great man last night, so, he obviously changed his tune pretty quick.
The book is completely untrue.
Stupid president.
That's a hell of a statement coming from Bannon.
St. Louis's FM News Talk.
Completely false claims against the president.
FM News Talk 97.1.
We'll see what happens with Mr. Bannon.
Younger, smarter.
To confront Iranians.
Better.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Personally, are you committed still to doing that? Do you believe that?
Just so you understand. There's been no collusion. There's been no crime. And in theory, everybody tells me I'm not under investigation. Maybe Hillary is, I don't know, but I'm not. But there's been no collusion. There's been no crime. But we have been very open. We could have done it two ways. We could have been very closed, and it would have taken years. But, sort of like when you've done nothing wrong, let's be open and get it over with. Because honestly, it's very, very bad for our country. It's making our country look foolish. And this is a country that I don't want looking foolish. And it's not going to look foolish as long as I'm here. So we've been very open, and we just want to get that over with.
Welcome into the Annie Frey Show. Hope you're having a nice, warm and cozy Saturday evening. It seems like we're about to get a little more winter weather tomorrow. Maybe even tonight. Frank, does it start this evening? It's all tomorrow?
It's all tomorrow, and it's that fun mix of snow into freezing rain into rain as the weather warms up tomorrow. Yeah. So some of those driving conditions starting in the morning hours to headed into the early afternoon could be dicey.
I feel like this is the weather condition where it either ends up only being rain or it's like the 2006 ice storm.
We all need rain.
It's yeah, for sure. 2018 can start off to get a better start by getting some extra rain, and 2017 was pretty dry. So that was Donald Trump. That was at Camp David today. He was meeting with Republican leadership at Camp David to discuss 2018, what the agenda is going to be, how they can get it done, and what stands between them now and the point with which they can achieve that success that they're looking to achieve. It was an interesting press conference because he was questioned on a lot of things. He took a lot of questions. They were on the whole gamut of hot stories that are out there right now, whether they are actual legitimate stories or a lot of what the leftist media ends up trying to keep oxygenated, to keep those stories alive, to keep them top of mind. And the reason why I want to bring this up specifically and why I want to play you this clip, it's from right after the election happened in 2016. And I think it's really important in 2018. I think it's a very important thing for folks like you and me to understand, no matter where you are in the political spectrum, because this whole concept that is out there right now about the president being mentally unfit, unstable, about being crazy or stupid or maniacal. These Democrats need this story because they need to marginalize the president in one way or another. Do you think for a moment, if President Obama was enjoying this same kind of success financially with the economy that President Trump is, that all the Democrats would be doing is pointing at the scoreboard? And truthfully, after a horrible housing crash and everything, when the economy went into the crapper in 2008, he was a president when we bounced back. Now, you might have different reasons why we bounced back. There were things that we tried that worked. There are things that we tried that failed. But President Obama gets a ton of credit for that success. And if you heard me on the think tank this week on the Dave Glover Show, and if you've never heard the think tank on the Glover Show, it's a good segment he has. It goes for a little over an hour, and they take three people of differing positions and perspectives and throws out subjects, and we talk about those subjects, and we argue about them. Well, Charlie Tuna Edwards is one that is on there occasionally with me, and we're having record success with the economy right now, and as far as he's concerned, it's all President Obama's success. And I know if you're listening to me now, and if you heard me with Charlie Tuna during the think tank, you're probably thinking that Charlie's perspectives are so warped, that they're so out there that we shouldn't even. I get these emails all the time. So does the Glover Show. That we shouldn't have a Charlie on the air to talk about this type of stuff because it's so crazy. I'm here to tell you that his perspective and his viewpoint, it's not just Charlie's viewpoint. There are tons of people, tons of voters who think the way he thinks. And it's for a wide variety of reasons. Some of it is institutionalism, where they have a way of thinking about things. They have preconceived notions about people, about politicians, and they just believe what they always have believed. They don't look at how things change or look at how things differ. But that's why we want to have the conversation. So I can say, well, what about this? What if you look at it from this point of view? But what Charlie teaches me, and what other things that I read, especially if you go into the cesspool that is Twitter. I like Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Annie Frey Show, and tweet at me during the show and tweet at me during the break. But the thing about Twitter is, since there's so much brevity involved in Twitter, it's a very biting place to exist. People say some pretty inflammatory, hateful things because they can't beat around the bush. They can't spend the characters that are necessary to invest in softening the blow. Twitter's all about landing the blow as fast and as solid as you possibly can. But what in my opinion Charlie Tuna doesn't understand, and what the leftist media doesn't understand, they do not get why Donald Trump is the president. They do not understand how people like you, maybe, and like me could support somebody, quote unquote, like him. But I also want to challenge you to look a little bit deeper, look a little bit past the surface about it just being the man Donald Trump. My opinion is that liberals, progressives, the left-leaning media, it's not just the man Donald Trump that they detest. It has a lot more to do with the agenda, with the policies that he supports. It has a whole lot more to do with the things that he wants to accomplish. And I'm telling you right now, as somebody who voted for Donald Trump, this 2017 was quite a conservative year in politics. He far surpassed what I hoped he would be as the president. He nominates conservative judges. He's managed to get tax reform through. He failed on health care, but in my opinion, they still needed to work a little bit harder to get a good bill, and it didn't happen. So he's going to continue to work on it, hopefully later in his administration. But he's got to swing back at this leftist media to defend himself and to defend his policies. And when he's defending those policies, that way of thinking, he's defending you and me. When we think that middle-class people should have more of their own money in their paycheck that goes into their checking account than getting laundered through the government IRS tax system so that they can re-dole it out to however and whomever they think is most worthy. And by worthy, you have to factor in a lot of the nepotism or lobbying that goes on. It's not like there's this very pure way of taking money in and paying money out from a governmental standpoint. But the leftist media does not get how President Trump could be President Trump. And before I play this clip, I told Frank I was going to play one clip, but I'm gonna go first with cut 6. Before I play the one clip that if you watch my Facebook Live, I told you I had a treat. The treat comes after this clip. This clip isn't the treat. But this is what leftists have to do to President Trump because his policies are working so well and he's following through on his promises. This is Nevada Representative Dina Titus.
The president opened the floor to questions from reporters today during a meeting with GOP leaders at Camp David. Congressional leaders as well as cabinet members met with the president to lay out a plan for 2018, but the fallout from a new tell-all book seems to be stealing the spotlight. Joining me now, Democratic Congresswoman Dina Titus from Nevada. Awfully good to see you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
I know that you've spent time with this president. As far as his mental state, which has been called into question by this book, what is your impression of him? Do you agree with claims that there's reason to worry about him?
Well, I think he's unfit to be president on a lot of levels, intellectually, morally, legally. And I'm hear people trying to say he acts like a child. That's offensive to some of the children I know. I think you might as well just call him a sociopath. If you read the book by the Harvard psychologist, Professor Stout, Sociopaths Next Door, you see he fits all those qualifications. Excessive lying, delusional, lack of empathy, superficially charming. Just call it what it is.
Just call it what it is. That's Representative Dina Titus from Nevada. Here's some words that she said there to describe our president, duly elected president of the United States. Unfit, intellectually challenged, morally challenged, legally challenged. And she calls him a sociopath. You know, this is what dictionary.com says is a sociopath: a person with a personality disorder manifesting itself in extreme antisocial attitudes and behavior and a lack of conscience. Somebody tell me something that President Trump has done in his presidency, some policy that he's put through that shows that he has a lack of conscience. It's just not true. And if you follow actual real-life factual stories about President Trump, if you pay attention to the man, Donald Trump, you actually find out he is incredibly charitable. He is incredibly given. He cares about people. And you know this because people who meet him and spend time with him, they say it. I can't give you their names because they're nobodies. They're just regular folks like you and me. Not anybody who's got a next election to ride on or to run for, or some big business that they need to detach themselves with the president or attach themselves to the president. They're just regular Americans meeting a very generous and kind person and telling us that this is the person whom he is. And we're supposed to believe that that person exists, this person who has nothing to gain or nothing to lose by coming out and saying, yeah, I played golf with the president. He's a pretty big jerk. He wouldn't talk to me. He treated us like we were nobodies, and he didn't pay any attention to us, and we didn't talk to him or anything. No, they talk about how he actually talks to them, not about himself. He invests his time when he's with people. He invests his time with them. And there's story after story after story about this. But we have one instance of President Trump talking in a Hollywood-like setting with Billy Bush saying some disgusting things that President Trump, I'm sure, regrets, but doesn't say he didn't do it. He doesn't try to write it off. He says it's locker room talk, which it is, but he never says that it's okay, and he never denies that he did it because he's being honest about it. And a lot of these other career politicians, they spend their time, if they get busted on something like that, there's a whole big dog and pony show about how whatever you're hearing is not really the truth, and oh, that was edited, or no, that's not actually what happened, and it's all like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. President Trump, in my opinion, when he had that conversation with Billy Bush, was in the wrong. It was disrespectful to women. And it was disrespectful, in my opinion, to Billy Bush to be talking to him like that or anybody else who was around him. And I'm not okay with it, but that doesn't mean that I have to detest him as the president of the United States or understand that nobody is perfect. Nobody who runs for office doesn't have a skeleton or two in their closet that they don't necessarily want people to find out. What he did there was not criminal. And there is still no evidence that this president has done anything criminal. But you have Dina Titus, a representative from Nevada, saying he's unfit, intellectually challenged, morally challenged, legally challenged. And she's wrong. And she has to rely on this mental instability message in order to degrade these massive successes that the president is experiencing. So much winning. It's what he said he would do. It's what he was doing. Is he a perfect man? Absolutely not. Are you? Are you perfect? We all know that people are fallible. And we could go through the line of all of the presidents that have existed before and point out all of the places where their inappropriate actions or their skeletons in their closet had to come out. But who does that benefit? Pointing out everybody else's dirty laundry doesn't make somebody else's dirty laundry stink any less. But when you're invested, you're fully invested in the failure of the President of the United States, when you want him to fail because it would make you feel like you won a victory, you are the selfish one. You are the morally bankrupt, corrupt one, not the president. So I give you this montage. I want you to listen to this because I'm going to talk about this on the other side of the break, because this is after 2016. This is after the election. It's 2018. It's another election year. This is how the leftists went into the election and what happened after they were done.
Donald Trump, just last week, he confirmed to the National Review that he is again considering a run in 2016.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Is that people think that Donald Trump is a clown.
Donald Trump is a clown. I mean, does anybody seriously think that Donald Trump is serious about running for president?
Donald Trump, you know, he's a clown.
The likely moderator apparently believes that Donald Trump is a clown.
Which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones right now, Donald Trump.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
So basically, this is the beginning of the end for Trump.
The beginning of the end.
Beginning of the end?
This is probably starting of the beginning of the end for Donald Trump.
Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency.
The strongest person usually isn't the loudest one in the room.
So right now we have Hillary's about a 75 or an 80% favorite. We have different versions of the forecast you can look at.
The poll has Hillary Clinton up by double digits nationally, 12 points, 50-38, four-way race.
Clinton leading in Florida, Clinton leading in North Carolina, Clinton leading in Ohio, Clinton leading in Nevada. I could go on and on and on.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
And so, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun. It's been great. I love you. But come on, buddy.
We're a major projection right now. Donald Trump will take Ohio. That CNN projects Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida. Huge win for Donald Trump. Donald Trump, we project, will win in Kentucky, in Indiana, with its 11 electoral votes. West Virginia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, North Dakota, with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, the state of Montana, North Carolina, Georgia, Iowa, Utah, Wisconsin, Arizona, Kansas with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
You're awake, by the way. You're not having a terrible, terrible dream. Also, you're not dead and you haven't gone to hell. This is your life now. This is our election now. This is us. This is our country. It's real.
Watch the Mark Cox Show live on the Granite Transformation Studio Cam at 971talk.com/Cox. Log on to our website or use your mobile device to join the daily live stream and watch the show. It's the Granite Transformation Studio Cam at 971talk.com/Cox.
The holidays might be over, but it's not necessarily time to stop thinking about that special person in your life, or maybe getting yourself a little something nice. I'm here to talk to you about thediamondshop.net. If you're looking at our webcam right now, which you can find at 971talk.com/Annie, you can see the beautiful necklace that my husband got me before Christmas. Went to the Diamond Shop, talked to Thomas, and talked to all of the folks there. Nikki, Mona, everybody who works there is so kind. And we said, hey, listen, We're looking at trying to do something exciting next year for maybe a vacation, possibly. We're looking to maybe do something extra for the kids for Christmas this year. This is our budget. It's not a huge budget. And they're like, no problem. We got you covered. They show you what you can afford, prices from $10, $15 all the way up to, I don't know, lots of money that I could not afford myself. But they take care of you and they respect you and they want to make sure that you come back as a satisfied customer. So go to thediamondshop.net, check out the Diamond Shop in Clayton, and talk to Mona, talk to Tom's, talk to everybody who's there. They're going to take care of you. That's the Diamond Shop in Clayton.
Savings based on 2-year protection plan compared to T-Mobile premium device protection as of July 12, 2017. Square Trade does not cover lost or stolen items. Terms and conditions apply.
Getting a new phone? Get this. Every 2 seconds, one of us accidentally breaks our phone. So, protecting your phone is a smart idea. But phone insurance through your wireless carrier can cost as much as $15 every month. Switch to Square Trade phone protection instead, for half the cost of insurance through your wireless carrier. And you could save $200 or more. It's like protecting 2 phones for the price of 1. Square Trade covers accidents like drops and spills with easy same-day repair options. Part of the Allstate family, we're trusted by over 30 million customers with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. And switching to Square Trade is easy. How else can you save $200 in 10 minutes? So don't wait. Switch today.
Switch to Square Trade now and you can save over $200. Visit squaretrade.com. That's squaretrade.com.
St. Louis's most aggressive lease and financing offers are available now at the Gateway Area Acura dealers. Award-winning performance luxury at an affordable price. Shop the entire lineup now at GatewayAreaAcuraDealers.com. Like the new 2018 Acura MDX, RDX, or TLX, all named Consumer Guide's 2018 Best Buys. Schedule a test drive today to see for yourself while reviews are raving about Acura. Shop and save at GatewayAreaAcuraDealers.com. That's GatewayAreaAcuraDealers.com.
People are always talking about the stock market, always looking to invest in a good opportunity, something with the potential to grow. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock where you invest to make money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps students like me go to college, which ends up making the future better for everybody. I could be the first college graduate in my family, the first district attorney from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there will be a second and a third. This can really be the start of something. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF.
Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
My name is Dale Pazinski, and this is how I live United. I volunteer with United Way, helping the homeless in my community by teaching computer skills and helping them build a basic resume to save on their very own USB drive. It's huge when somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Keeping you informed and up to date.
Little rocket man. Nuclear button is on his desk at all times.
The president's weak. Kim Jong-un. My nuclear button is bigger than your nuclear button.
Protests growing more violent in Iran.
The people of Iran are crying out for freedom.
The news and talk station for St. Louis.
Wind, plummeting temperatures. Going to be a significant storm up along the East Coast.
FM News Talk 97.1.
And the intensity of the snow.
Younger, smarter.
This is one to be very careful about.
Better.
Mad love, so take a look what you've done. Cause baby, now we got bad blood.
Hey, I can't take it back. Look where I'm at. We was OG like DOC, remember that. My TOC was quite OD, ID my facts. Now POV of you and me, similar Iraq. I don't hate you, but I hate to critique, overrate you. These beats of a
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
Because I went to the best colleges for college. I went to I had a situation where I was a very excellent student, came out, made billions and billions of dollars, became one of the top business people, went to television, and for 10 years was a tremendous success, as you probably have heard. Ran for president one time and won. And then I hear this guy that doesn't know me at all. By the way, did not interview me he said he interviewed me for 3 hours in the White House. It didn't exist, okay? It's in his imagination.
Welcome back into the Annie Frey Show. Donald Trump today talking from Camp David, and he was asked about his mental stability, and he tweeted about that. Also, defending the fact that he's not a loon, basically. I mean, isn't this insane? What has President Trump actually done that makes you feel like his mental stability is at stake or is a cause of concern? You know, they don't like Donald Trump because of the way Donald Trump reacts to them, to their challenges of him. Because he doesn't play their game. He doesn't spend time investing in kowtowing to the media to try to pull them along as much as they possibly as he can in order to sing their songs or to dance when they say dance or to say how high when they ask him to jump. He doesn't do it. He has no time for it, and in fact, he makes fun of it. But we've been saying that. Conservatives have been feeling that for years. For years. And he goes out there and he gets to be the bigger bully back to the biggest bully, which is the mainstream media. He just doesn't play their games. I challenge you, if you're in a conversation with a progressive who says that Donald Trump is crazy, that he's a loon, ask him to give you some examples, some specifics. And they might be able to come up with some stuff. It'll be the general talking points that we've all heard before. They'll talk about how they don't like his character. They'll cite what he said. You know, the Billy Bush interview will come up immediately. They'll cite him making fun of a handicapped person at a political rally. They'll cite a number of other things that have been inflamed by a media that has wanted to take him down from the moment he put his face in front of a camera from a political perspective. If he would have run as a Democrat, if he would have run as some kind of progressive, they would love him. And all of his previous sins would still be there, but you wouldn't know about them because they wouldn't cover them on a loop from the leftist side of the media. Let's go to the next cut about this. This is about Michael Wolff, this author of this tell-all book that Steve Bannon got caught up in the middle of.
So many of the people that I talk about in terms of fake news actually came to the defense of this great administration and even myself because they know the author and they know he's a fraud. And when I saw some of the people say, and you look at some of his past books, he did a book on Rupert Murdoch. It was a terrible expose, and it was false. So much of it was false. I consider it a work of fiction, and I think it's a disgrace that somebody's able to have something, do something like that. The libel laws are very weak in this country. If they were strong, it would be very helpful. You wouldn't have things like that happen where you can say whatever comes to your head.
This is what's dangerous about the Democratic Party and the people who run the party. I say this all the time. I'm going to say it again. We all have friends and family that are Democrats, and most of them are pretty normal people. So your everyday Democrat who has a few different standpoints of believing what they believe, they're nice, good people. So when you say Democrats are a certain way, it's offensive to those people who are normal, everyday people who have a leftist lean on their politics. And I say that because there are some Republican loonies out there that I don't want to be associated with, and just because they do or say something doesn't mean that I automatically am in lockstep with what they say. But this is why the leftist media is so dangerous. It's because they hate anything that is of conservative values. They don't like the Constitution and the freedoms that the Constitution guarantees the people from a massive controlling government. The power is in the people, and the Constitution is in place to limit the government, the overreach, the bloated regulatory system that is the government today is what the Constitution is supposed to hinder. The process is supposed to be slow. But the Democrats don't want these constitutional conservative principles in place because it slows down what they get to do when they take your money and hand it out to the people who they see fit for whatever reason, whether honorable or dishonorable. Most of the Democrats that I have in my life are enormously kind, compassionate people. They see all the good that the government can do, all the people that can be helped with the government. In essence, to me, that is a noble place to think. But I just don't believe the government is capable of doing it. So it's not a matter, the thought process is kind, the thought process is compassionate, but when it comes down to it, you have to ask yourself, can this actually be executable? And the answer is no. Look at universal health care. Where's the story? I have it here. Socialist paradise, British National Health Services cancels 50,000 surgeries. 50,000 surgeries. How's socialist health care working out for you? But you talk to a Democrat, and the Democrats say that people need health care, and so they think that the government needs to show up at the front door and say, well, here's some health care. It's free and affordable. Oh, except for the fact that A, it doesn't work, and B, you pay for it out of your taxes, and then we tell you what health care you can have and what health care you're not allowed to have. That's not freedom. That's not liberty. That's not what the Constitution is in place for. It's so that we don't turn into socialist paradise. British National Health Services cancels 50,000 surgeries. It's not freedom. And to say that the answer to that is, well, if we can't do it, then I guess there's nothing to do. No, that's wrong. We let the market work. We make competition necessary. We allow the people who can compete for your business to compete so that you want to get their business from them. Frank, you talk all the time about healthcare, and you say, aren't you always the one who's saying you should make it not attached to your job? It should be more portable?
Absolutely.
And, like the amount of competition that exists right now, the Affordable Care Act guaranteed insurance companies' customers. And there are all these regulatory systems that are in place right now to limit what you can have and tell you what you have to have and tax you if you don't get it, which that's gone now. Thank you, conservatives. The mandate is gone. But there are lots of people, Frank and I don't sit in the exact same place on the political spectrum, but there are lots of people who have ideas about how we can make this more competitive. And if it's not attached to your job, maybe that's one way we can do it. Maybe that doesn't work. I'm not smart enough to know the ins and outs of all of that. But there are ways that we can make this possible. And anytime a Democrat challenges you, if you're a conservative person, to say that you don't care about people because you vote for Republicans, or to say that Donald Trump doesn't care about people because he gets rid of the individual mandate by signing this tax reform, they don't understand it enough. The lack of intelligence isn't on the president, it's on them. And they're more invested in Republican failure than they are in America's success. And that is sad. Sad, exclamation point, to quote one Donald Trump in many tweets. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to talk to Illinois Policy Institute's Austin Berg. Illinois is still struggling, will be struggling for quite some time. People are fleeing the state to bastions of freedom and hope, like Missouri, which I'm sitting in right now, and I can move anytime to Missouri and make my life a lot better. And guess what? I leave all of Illinois' problems behind. It's that easy. Get me a U-Haul. Or figure out a way that we can invest in some success and some conservative policies in the state of Illinois and try to make things better for the people so they don't have to leave their homes. Austin Berg, Illinois Policy Institute, coming up next. Tweet at me over the break at Annie Frey Show. We'll be back in just a minute.
Think about the good times, you and I. 'Cause baby, now we got
This is the Annie Frey Show.
so take a look what you've done. 'Cause baby, now we got
Traffic reports at your fingertips. Real-time traffic online.
Log on to 971talk.com for real-time traffic updates.
Brought to you by Deck and Patio Living. Make your backyard dreams come true. Call 890-2222.
Gravity is only a suggestion. Physics is just a theory. Impossible is merely an opinion. Monster Jam, celebrating 25 years of adrenaline-charged family entertainment and selling out stadiums across the country. Tickets are on sale now. Monster Jam returns with 2 huge shows coming to the Don't Let America Center March 3rd and 4th. Don't miss out. Lock in your seats today. For tickets and show details, visit monsterjam.com today.
What you get for your money.
If a spectacular Miami penthouse is on your Christmas wish list, guess what? One can be yours for just 33 coins. Bitcoins. And what do you get for your money? A 1-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 828 square foot condo with a view of Biscayne Bay and the Miami skyline for 33 Bitcoins only. No cash or bank loan accepted. Do the math, and that's $547,000. But economics professor Brian Brenberg with the Fox Business Network says Bitcoin could go bust.
Look, I don't think this thing's going to fall to zero and stay there, but in the short term, we don't know where the price is going to go. People are getting in because they're reading headlines that say Bitcoin's going up, but that could reverse itself very quickly.
For now, the cryptocurrency, though volatile, is trending up, surging more than 1,500% this year against the U.S. dollar. But the fear is what goes up must come down, so that beautiful Biscayne Bay apartment could be a toss-up. That's what you get for your money. I'm Derek Dennis, Fox News.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
Fox on Faith.
with Lauren Green.
Does politics trump religion or religion trump politics? The hard-fought Alabama Senate race between Democrat Doug Jones and Republican Judge Roy Moore exposed a political schism, but perhaps a religious divide as well. According to polls, 80% of white evangelicals voted for Moore, despite the sexual misconduct allegations. Ellen Ratner, Talk Media Bureau Chief.
There is a religious divide. There's no question about that. But, everybody's focused on the sexual issues with Roy Moore. However, there's some other issues, like him putting the 10 Commandments against a federal judge's order in the lobby of his courtroom.
But religious conservative Dr. Alex McFarland defends Moore, saying evangelicals weren't turning a blind eye to the accusations, but supported what Moore stood for, like the 10 Commandments.
He knew, and I agree, that our Constitution really means nothing unless there are some moral absolutes that we recognize and uphold.
For Fox on Faith, Lauren Green, Fox News.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? When floodwaters reach your door? When wildfires are engulfing the edge of your neighborhood? Or an earthquake is destroying buildings? Or is the best time perhaps today? During a disaster, you may not be able to stay in touch with your family or friends as easily as you think. Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and keep heaters 3 feet away from anything that can burn. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Hey, it's Tim Jones. Join me for the Tim Jones Show Sunday, 7 to 9 p.m. We'll have Tim's Top 3, Media Malpractice, the top newsmakers of the week, and your phone calls.
The Tim Jones Show on FM News Talk 97.1. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back into the Annie Frey Show. I'm going to take some phone calls at the top of the 6 o'clock hour, so make sure you call in 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797 if you want to weigh in on any of the topics we've discussed so far. We're going to take this time right now to talk to Austin Berg of the Illinois Policy Institute. Austin, thank you for joining us today.
No problem, Annie. Appreciate it.
So Illinois has not fixed all of its problems yet, not since the last time we talked. They're probably compounding interest at this point in time. What's going on in the state of Illinois? What does the forward next 1, 2, 3 years look like in the state of Illinois if we continue on the course that we're on right now?
Well, it's tough to predict, but what we can do is look at what happened last year and what's happened really since 2010. What we saw discouragingly at the end of the year, we got new data from the IRS, we got new data from the census. The census showed us shrinking in population for a 4th consecutive year. There's only one other state in the nation that has had more consecutive years of population decline, and that's West Virginia. So if you're in the same sentence as West Virginia, when you're talking about economics or demographics, that's not good news.
Not so good.
So the other problem is that not only are we shrinking, but we're shrinking because we are losing so many people to other states. Just from July 2016 to July 2017, 115,000 Illinoisans left for other states, and that's on net. That number can be tough for some people to comprehend. Let me get a little some scale to that. Since 2010, we've seen 640,000 people move to other states on net. That is like Aurora, Joliet, Rockford, and Naperville. Those are the 4 largest cities outside Chicago, all getting up and moving across the state border. That is a massive economic problem for the future of the state.
And they take their tax dollars with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So even over the last year alone, we know from the IRS data, Illinois lost $4.7 billion in adjusted gross income to other states. That is a really, really big problem. And honestly, it should be a bipartisan problem, yet we're seeing some people choose to ignore it. We can't fund social services. We can't provide a good social safety net. We can't fund schools if you have a shrinking tax base. Illinois' eroding tax base is by far, to me, the biggest budget problem in the state. It's the biggest policy problem in the state.
Good grief. The taxes are out of control. Taxation in the state of Illinois is bonkers. And if we have a lot of people who listen to this radio show living in Missouri, but we also have a lot of people who live in Illinois. And the move is a very simple thing to make. Once you've committed to it, it's not that complicated. And what you can get in Missouri for your dollar versus what you can get in Illinois is pretty starkly different as well. What incentive exists or could exist to keep Illinoisans in the state of Illinois?
There's so much that Illinois can offer to people when they move here. We have such a great workforce. We have a lot of headquarters still in Chicago. We have such a great agricultural economy. The problem has been policy mistakes. You're exactly right. The number one reason that Illinoisans give for wanting to leave the state is taxes. So if people aren't talking about reining in the cost of government when they're talking about solving this out-migration problem, they're not being serious about it. Look at these border communities. I think of a place like Belleville that just hiked property taxes $1.2 million to pay for pensions. And we're seeing this in communities across Illinois, hiking taxes, not to pay for new services, not to pay for better services, but to dump into this pension sinkhole where people aren't really seeing that money. That is not a good deal. That is not a good way to attract people when you say, hey, come to my town. You're going to pay more in taxes every single year, not to pay for any new services, any better services, just to pay for legacy costs.
Yeah.
Those things need to be tackled if we're going to solve this problem in Illinois.
You bring up pension. We're speaking with Austin Berg from the Illinois Policy Institute as a conservative watchdog for the state of Illinois. You bring up pensions, and that's a topic that is so emotionally charged that I feel like we avoid talking about it because people already know where they're going to vote on this issue. But somewhere in the middle of don't ever touch my pension, you promise this to me, or I'm working right now, and this is, it's unfair for you to balance the budget on the backs of hardworking, middle classers. And hey, we don't have any money in the piggy bank. And the frightening truth of what could exist at the end of this crisis. What do Illinoisans need to know about the seriousness of the pension crisis?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so right about how this is sort of portrayed as a black and white issue, when the fact is this is going to be something where you're going to need to see both sides come together, or else it'll get really, really ugly. We look at a community like Danville, for instance, right on the Illinois-Indiana border. That town has over $100 million in local pension debt. And even to this right now, you're having people in Danville pay up to $1,000 a year in a fee that just goes to pensions.
Yeah.
Now, when you keep hiking those taxes, hiking those fees, you see it in Belleville too. At some point, that becomes suicidal, because you have people that can move a very short distance away to avoid paying it, and it's very difficult to attract anyone. So at some point, you're going to lose so much of your tax base that none of these pensions are going to get paid. It's just simply not possible.
It's almost
so there's going to need to be some concessions there at some point.
It almost feels like you have an infection in your wrist or your hand, and you can stop the infection from spreading to the rest of your body if you amputate it. And nobody wants to lose their hand. Nobody wants to have to go through with that. But you could keep it. But the infection is going to take over the rest of your body, and then we all know what happens if that's the case. Is there a proposal out there, and I only have a few more minutes, but is there a proposal out there that would allow people who are going to draw this pension, who are drawing this pension, to feel like this is something that I can stomach? I'm not going to like it, but I can stomach it, and Illinois can have a little bit brighter of a future?
There is proposals out there, and it would probably require changes to the state constitution. We should definitely be putting all new workers on 401k style plans. But here's the really sad part about this: is that I feel bad for these local leaders in Belleville, in Danville, in places like this, because state law really does make this a black and white issue. You don't have many levers to pull as a local leader besides tax hikes. So one thing that we need to do at the state level, we need to reform is, speaking of touchy issues, here's another one. Government worker unions in Illinois right now just have the power to hold taxpayers over a barrel. There's unlimited contract length. There's no unlimited scope of what can be bargained over. And third, there is an enshrined right to strike in state law. All of our neighboring states have solved this problem in Illinois. They've addressed one of those three things. Illinois has addressed none of them.
Yeah.
So if we're going to talk about lowering property tax bills, that's definitely something we need to talk about, fairness in negotiations.
Every once in a while, we have the Show Me Institute on, which is a Missouri policy institute, much like your own, and they talk about their pension crisis, and I just sit there and I laugh. I'm like, that's not a crisis. Look, East, that's a crisis. It's crazy to see the scope of what we're facing in the state of Illinois. Austin Berg, Illinois Policy Institute, appreciate your time. We're going to continue to follow. This is not a big election year in 2018, and we're going to keep our eye very closely on illinoispolicy.org to see what you guys have to say.
Thanks, Annie. Appreciate it.
You too. Bye-bye. Here's the thing about pensions. If you're in the state of Illinois and you're aware of the pension problem, I don't care if you are taking a pension or if you know someone who's taking a pension or if you're somebody who is hoping to get your pension. I mean, listen, I pay into Social Security, and I fear that the money that is coming out of my paycheck right now will not benefit me by the time I get to take out the Social Security. So I do understand that capacity. However, I don't think anyone's expecting to live off of Social Security. The people who are drawing these pensions were made a promise. So the anger and the frustration and the vitriol that I have as a conservative taxpayer in the state of Illinois isn't on those people. It's not on the police officers, the people who serve our cities and our towns. It's not on the teachers and the people who educate our children. It's not on them. But we all have to be honest, and we all have to face the facts. There's tough news coming, one way or another. There's tough news coming, and the longer we wait to solve this problem and address it, I'm telling you right now, if you're taking a pension right now and you don't have any room to budge, you're going to have to balance this and sacrifice the future of the generations to come. Those are your kids. Whether they're your biological kids or the teacher or the kids in your classroom or the kids you're helping when you're, working the streets as a police officer or a firefighter, it's the generations to come that are going to have to pay for the sins of the legislators that have screwed us in Springfield, Illinois. I need a break. I need to calm down. More of your phone calls, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797 after the break at Annie Frey Show. We'll be back in a minute.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
I don't know about you, but I like having a clean car. Hey everybody, it's Mark Close, and taking care of me and my car is Rain Tunnel Express Car Wash. They have locations on both sides of the river. They're in and out 4 or 5 minutes. Your car is going to come out looking great. And by the way, and I get it, there's some great car washes around that'll run you upwards of $15 to $20. At Rain Tunnel Express, $6. That's right, $6. The car comes out looking great. You just ride right through the tunnel with it. The tires, the wheels look good. It dries. All the spots go away. They got great friendly kids working there. Real clean facility for $6. Now, if you buy the Money Saver card, it will lower the price of that car wash down to $5. You can afford to get your car washed every week for $5. It is the automaker's recommended wash. There's no brushes, only cloth, no scratching, coming out looking great. Rain Tunnel Express. For more info, please go to raintunnelexpress.com.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live united. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusi. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council. Ranger Station.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting in the forest. 1 second, I'm having a smoke. Next thing I know, I'm face-to-face with Smokey Bear. Wow. And he told me it only takes one spark to start a wildfire.
Did you know 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans?
I had no idea.
That's why Smokey's famous and you're not. If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and keep children 3 feet away from anything that gets hot. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's
KFTK FM, Florissant, KFTK AM East St. Louis, K254CR St. Louis.
Powered by thehomeloanexpert.com.
FM News Talk 97.1.
The brutal cold hangs on. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. Millions of Americans bracing for another night of below freezing temperatures.
This Arctic blast is happening all weekend. We're talking about a wind chill advisory in the parts of the Northeast and the Great Lakes region, the Midwest. The current wind chill right now in New York is -5. We have -11 in Buffalo, New York, and -7 in Boston. And tomorrow morning when people wake up, the wind chill is -23 in Boston, -7 in New York, and 4 below in Indianapolis. And it'll be 0 degrees. That'll be what that wind chill feels like in D.C.
Fox's Brian Yennis. President Trump is meeting with congressional Republicans and his cabinet at Camp David this weekend to come up with this year's agenda. Speaker of the House Paul Ryan says economic issues are a priority.
What we want to work on in 2018 is making sure that everyone enjoys the economic growth that's to come. We have people who are sidelined in society that need to get out of poverty and into the workforce. So we want to focus on making sure that we can close that skills gap, that opportunity gap, so that everyone can get the kind of life and the career that they can get in this country, that tap their potential.
President Trump says immigration, the military, and infrastructure are also being discussed at this weekend's meeting. While at Camp David, President Trump stepped up his attacks on Michael Wolff, the author of a new tell-all book about life in the White House and of the president's mental fitness.
But just so you know, I never interviewed with him in the White House at all. He was never in the Oval Office. We didn't have an interview. I did a quick interview with him a long time ago having to do with an article. But I don't know this man. I guess Sloppy Steve brought him into the White House quite a bit, and it was one of those things. That's why Sloppy Steve is now looking for a job.
The president referring to former chief strategist Steve Bannon. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather.
The official FM News Talk 97.1 Weather Center forecast. Increasing cloudiness tonight and cold, low 16, although temperatures rising late at night. Tomorrow cloudy with periods of rain for late morning on. The rain freezing on untreated surfaces for a time, so watch for slippery roads and sidewalks. High late tomorrow 38. Occasional rain tomorrow night, mainly before midnight. Low near 32. This is meteorologist Bob Larson for FM News Talk 97.1.
Due to the recent drought and dry soil conditions, homes in our area are experiencing settlement problems within their home and foundation. Warning signs to look for are cracks in your foundation or exterior brickwork, plaster and drywall cracks and separation, sticking windows and doors, and separations around door and window openings. If your home is showing any of these signs, please call the foundation experts at Midwest Basement Tech. They're offering free foundation inspections to evaluate any problems that may be affecting your home's foundation and can provide you with repair recommendations and costs if repair is needed. The certified technicians at Midwest use only patented engineered products and offer a transferable warranty for your home's protection. They're now in their 40th year solving foundation and waterproofing issues on both sides of the river and have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Call Midwest Basement Tech today and take advantage of winter pricing, and financing is available. Call 800-848-9805. That's 800-848-9805 or visit MidwestBasementTech.com.
This is House Call for Help. Scientists have finally gotten to the bottom of why an Italian woman, her 2 daughters, and her 3 grandchildren can't feel pain or sense any kind of temperature. They've even broken bones without even noticing. Thanks to the help of studies in mice, scientists think they've pinned it down to a gene that's responsible for this pretty dangerous condition. It's called Marsilli syndrome, which comes from the family's surname, and they're pinning it on a mutation in the ZFH-X2 gene. The mutation alters how the nerve cells transplant to sensory inputs and ultimately causes a lack of pain. While the discovery may lead to better pain management in the future and include ways to specifically target genes to relieve pain, for now, the family is content living pain-free, albeit with some extra precautions to ensure they don't suffer any dangerous injuries without realizing it. For more on this story, check FoxNewsHealth.com. House Call for Health, I'm Alex Hine, Fox News.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
The news of the day.
8 to 12 inches of snow up along the East Coast.
Very cold temperatures.
Minus 13 degrees.
Every day.
Did Steve Bannon betray you, Mr. President?
He called me a great man last night, so, he obviously changed his tune pretty quick.
The book is completely untrue.
Stupid president. That's a hell of a statement coming from Bannon.
St. Louis's FM News Talk.
Completely false claims against the president.
FM News Talk 97.1.
We'll see what happens with Mr. Bannon.
Younger, smarter.
To confront
the Iranians.
Better.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
We need more Republicans. We have to have more Republicans. With that being said, I think we're going to go bipartisan. I think we're going to have some really great bipartisan bills. But we need more Republicans so that we can really get the rest of the Make America Great Again agenda passed. And so I will be actually working for incumbents and anybody else that has my kind of thinking. And I think that's going to happen. We're going to make a lot of trips. We'll be very involved. I think you folks are going to be very happy because you're going to be doing a lot of traveling.
So that includes some challengers to incumbents too?
I don't see it. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at this moment. No, I think they've sort of scattered. We had somebody that lost us, the state of Alabama, and I think, as far as I'm concerned, that was a shame that was lost. It should never have been lost. And you have to look. With it all being said, we have the right policy. We have the right everything. You still need a good candidate. If you don't have the good candidate, you're just not going to win. So we should have never lost Alabama. It shouldn't have happened.
Welcome back into the Annie Frey Show. Good to be with you. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday. Give us a call, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797. If you want to weigh in on this topic, Pauline and Mark, I'm going to get to you here in just a second. But I want to set this up a little bit. So we have this Michael Wolff tell-all video. What's it called about Trump? I can't even remember what the name of the book is because I don't care enough about it to pay attention to it. But it's full of lies. It's full of partial truths, secondhand information. You know, any tabloid that you ever read, when you see the tabloids, they have insane stories on the front of them. There is an element of truth that exists somewhere in the story, and then they run with it. And that doesn't make the story factual, and it really, unless you're interested in reading fiction doesn't really make it worth your time to consume. So one of the things that came out about out of this book was about how people act around Donald Trump, and especially with Democrats, how the Democrats are bound together in their opinion. But also, this is from Dina Titus, who's the Nevada representative. She was doing an interview on MSNBC today. This is what she had to say about Democrats, but also Republicans regarding how they feel about Donald Trump.
Do you get a sense that many, or at least some of your colleagues, feel the way you do on Capitol Hill?
Oh, there's no question about it, certainly in Democratic circles. The frustrating thing is that Republicans will say similar things in private in the elevator, but then they go right down to the floor, vote for his agenda, they defend him in committee hearings and on television, and they go like minions in a bus over to the White House to provide a backdrop for some of his photo ops.
So there you have Miss Titus there outing Republicans for co-signing on this concept of President Trump being unstable or unfit, and trying to make it seem more normal and more accepting that the president is just basically a clown, a circus clown. So in this book, also, like I was saying, Wolf writes that that everybody who is in President Trump's circle, anybody who has experience with him, feels the same way.
And Geraldo, you were kind of mumbling to yourself when we were listening to the soundbite about the access that this guy got, and kind of ridiculing the fact that he only got 3 hours in the course of, 9 months?
It's more than 9 months, because the campaign began in 2015. So what you have is 3 hours. But that is not 3 hours of Michael Wolff speaking with President Trump, or President-elect Trump, or candidate Trump. That's him being in the presence of Donald Trump, the man that he absolutely analyzes as if he were a shrink and says things. I have to say that yesterday my wrath was directed at the Benedict Arnold, Steve Bannon, who absolutely has behaved traitorously to the family that entrusted him. Today and I don't generally like criticizing reporters, but Michael Wolff said something that I think begs exploration and analysis. Michael Wolff said, and I'm quoting, 100% of the people around Donald Trump, senior advisors, family members, every single one of them questions his intelligence and fitness for office. Really?
That's
every single one of the family members of Donald. This is a patent lie. This is absolutely untrue.
We know that Don Jr. and Ivanka and Jared Kushner and Eric Trump are not walking around talking about how unstable the president is. We know that. So the generalization they're made here to make the people who are hearing this message think that it is commonplace, that it is a known fact that the president of the United States is mentally unfit to serve. So when we talk about impeachment, when we start hearing the stories about impeachment, it's been on one side, which it comes and it goes, is the Russia investigation. But I'm telling you, at this point in time, we have no reason to believe that the president is going to be impeached or removed from office because of any type of collusion with Russia. And we have a very definitive comment from President Trump saying he did not do anything wrong. The other thing they try to do is delegitimize his stability, his sanity. And they have to fire on all cylinders so that you keep hearing it. They pound it into your brain. They keep coming back with this, a news story about everything about Donald Trump that is unhinged. Which is why I bring you this story here. And if you want to weigh in on this, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797. I'm going to take a couple calls here in a second. This story is hilarious. This is from the Independent Journal Review. Headline, outraged liberals fall for absurd Gorilla Channel parody about Trump. So I'm going to read you this. And this is a story that was put out there about Donald Trump. This shows you how desperate absolutely desperate progressives are to encourage Donald Trump's failure and to make you believe, anybody who's consuming this media narrative, make you believe that even though the country would be very damaged to go through an impeachment process, it would not be good for the United States of America. They need you to know that even though it would be terrible to go through that, Donald Trump's failure is necessary for the country's success. That's how they see it. This is the story. On his first night in the White House, President Trump complained that the TV in his bedroom was broken because it didn't have, quote, the Gorilla Channel, end quote. Trump seemed to be under the impression that a TV channel existed that screened nothing but gorilla-based content 24 hours a day. To appease Trump, White House staff compiled a number of gorilla documentaries into a makeshift gorilla channel, broadcast into Trump's bedroom from a hastily constructed transmission tower on the South Lawn. However, Trump was unhappy with the channel they had created, moaning it was, quote, boring because, quote, the gorillas aren't fighting, end quote. Staff edited out all the parts of the documentaries where the gorillas weren't hitting each other, and at last the president was satisfied. Quote, on some days he'll watch the Gorilla Channel for 17 hours straight, end quote, an insider told me. Quote, he kneels in front of the TV with his face about 4 inches from the screen and says encouraging things to the gorillas like, quote, the way you hit that other gorilla was good, end quote. I think he thinks the gorillas can hear him. This is what liberals actually believed. Some of these people want his failure so bad that they've bought into this narrative that they have created that he is an unstable person. You know what he is? He's an abrupt person. You know what he is? He's a frank person. He is forward with his thoughts and opinions. He does not filter them like the politicians we are used to. You want to know why Donald Trump won? Mostly because of that, because he served up truth, facts, information, and perspective in a forward, factual, straight up way. He treats us like adults. He doesn't feel like he needs to add a spoonful of sugar to make the truth go down. He just gives it to us straight. So this Scott Dworkin tweets after reading the story, Trump was mad because his TV wasn't, quote, getting the Gorilla Channel. Doesn't exist. So staff made videos of gorillas for him. He thought it was boring because they weren't always fighting, so they edited the fights. So he's tweeting out this information like it's factual. Eric Garland did the same thing. He says, censored, dang it, guys. I got totally punked on the Gorilla Channel thing. But when you're already gotten a, quote, eating KFC in bed, I mean, we're through the looking glass. So this is the type of insanity that people are hoping on relying on because they need this to be true. Not because it is true, but because they need it to be true. And after this break, I'm going to tell you why that's important for the elections in 2018. First, I'm going to take Pauline's phone call. Pauline, thanks for calling into the Annie Frey Show. What's going on?
I'm 62 years old, and I understand where you're coming from. And God, don't come to Missouri. It's worse than Illinois.
Oh, you think
but
so?
Yeah, it is. With Trump, they're on a witch hunt. They couldn't believe he won. You know, they couldn't believe he won over Hillary, you know.
Yeah.
And everybody forgets in the state about Hillary, the Whitewater, she was a state senator, you know, whatever. You know, she's just whining because she can't find another job.
She's got time on her hands, doesn't she?
Yeah, but, you know, you put a businessman in there, and that's what the people did. Mm-hmm. You run this country like a business, and it's about we. It's not about I or us or whatever. It'll come down to we.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what this country needs is we. And we need to quit dividing all the time and think about we. I'm 62 years old. I didn't get my Social Security like I thought I would and my pension. And I can barely live and pay for my medicine on what I got. The state of Missouri is discriminating over the American disability. And I'm in my senator's office, whether it's Republican or Democrat. I'm in my Congress office. My state representative left because he wanted a higher paying job, and I've asked for years for him to help me on health and safety to save some of these jobs because of high cost of health care.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have that. You got to stop the bleed. You got to have a safe job, and you got to cut costs. And you know, even with me being on Social Security, my Medicare does not pay all my bills. And I have to decide whether to pay my electric or my medicine.
You know, Pauline.
And this is what's wrong with the company.
Yeah, Pauline,
country.
Thank you for calling the show. I really appreciate it. There are a lot of problems that exist on a national scale, like the ones we were talking about with the state of Illinois. Social Security is definitely one of them. We don't have an infinite amount of money, and oftentimes it feels like when liberals get in control of the government, they treat it like there's an infinite amount of money. And then you get something like a wall. You want to build a wall on the southern border? We can't afford that. We don't have the money to pay for that. Where are we going to get that? Oh. Now we're concerned about budgeting now? We don't want to go into a deficit over an $18 billion wall on the side. Oh, now we care about what things cost? If it's going to keep bad guys out and encourage good people to go through the process where we welcome them with open arms into the United States of America because we love immigrants. We don't hate immigrants. We love immigrants, which is why we have a process in place for people to come here. Nobody is saying that people aren't welcome here. We just have a process. Go to Kohl's, fill up your bag full of stuff that you want to buy, and then cut the line and go stand in the front of the line so you can check out with your 40 items all on sale because it's Kohl's, and see how people treat you. Do you think you're going to be welcomed there, or do you think people are going to say, well, you know, you can buy this stuff. We want you to buy this stuff. That's why we have this stuff here. This stuff is for anybody and everybody, but you have to go stand in that line. And then when it's your turn, we will happily check you out and you will enjoy the bounties of your purchase. There's no discrimination there. There's just a process. That's what we're asking. It's not heartless. It's actually compassionate. Bring your tired and weary to the shores of the United States of America. Here is how you do it. We can't wait to have you here. Not, I skipped the line and well, yeah, this is America. Unless you hate people that aren't white males, then you obviously want me to stay. That isn't the way it works. Mark, real quick here before I have to go to a break. Thanks for calling the Annie Frey Show.
Oh, goodness. I'm trying to condense it. I heard what you said about progressives and wanting the one-payer system for health care.
Oh, the Great Britain story where they had to cancel 50,000 surgeries?
Yeah, and I had a great uncle or something when I lived there that was died when being on a list for a hip. So he was like 7 years on a waiting list for a hip. But what I wanted to point out was I was over there as a contractor. I was over there in the military the first time and a contractor the second time. And luckily, we were under the status of forces, so we were able to use the national health without having to pay into it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I kept getting from the Brits was, oh, it's terrible, and it's, we pay all this money, and what they've developed over there is a two-tier system. People that are, in the wealth tend to get private insurance. So there are hospitals over there that are private hospitals that only take this private health insurance. So all I keep thinking of is, the progressive, one-payer system. Well, there's always going to be in America, the whatever capitalism to have, better, faster, stronger. So not only are you going to have, if you would have had a single payer in the U.S., it would have been just like Britain where, I don't know the statistics, but it's like over 50% of the folks have private insurance. To skip that line, hey, my operation got canceled on the NHS, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it in the private hospital because I've got insurance. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
And I kept showing them, on their paycheck, it's a lot like FICA, where the national health gets taken out of their paycheck, and routinely, and these are people that are making 50,000 pounds, which, the rate was about double. So these are people that are doing pretty well. they were paying more into their NHS than I was paying for my insurance deductible. And it's like, and I had a problem when I was over there. I had irregular heartbeat, and, I was going to go to the NHS. And they said, yeah, literally, we can get you in like 3 or 4 weeks. And I said, I just had an operation. I really need to get my heart restarted. Called the private hospital, and they said, well, what time can you be here? And I said, I don't know, because we can take you right now.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody, I would love, that was my second point. They do some things really well with the national health, like birthing of children. We had 2 kids over there, and they have free medication for diabetics and stuff. But I honestly felt guilty getting free stuff over there because it's like, well, wait a second. I'd like to pay into this. Yes, I'm doing a service over here and I'm working with your government, but...
And like you said, that the money coming out of the paycheck is still at a premium level. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. It's just, it's a big thing. Now, to be fair, part of their national health tax or whatever it is goes towards your pension. So that's kind of like the group company or, countrywide 401k. So, there's that. And again, I'm not poo-pooing the whole thing. They did some things really well, but only simple things,
Yeah, Mark, I appreciate the call. Thank you very much for your story. It's a very good example of this. Conceptually, oftentimes, Democrat policies sound good. It sounds good on the surface, but then you have to ask yourself, can we actually make this happen? The answer is no. Then it doesn't matter how great it seems, it's not doable. Take some more phone calls after the break, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797. We have a few lines open. Also, you can tweet at me over the break at Annie Frey Show. Rose Jacoby says, hope you play that pre-election program over and over. Love reminiscing those winning happy thoughts. Hashtag Make America Great Again. Be back in just a minute. More of the Annie Frey Show coming up.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now, 314-969-9797 or toll free 866-455-9797.
Burning matches, lifting latches, on our way back home. We're on our way home. We're on our way home. We're going home. You and I have met.
Dependable weather.
Clouds take control today. Chance on a couple of spotty little...
With Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray.
Brought to you by Air Comfort Service. No heat, furnace acting up, high utility bills? Get 0% financing on a new furnace. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
40 years of savings. 40 holidays, 40 block parties, 40 barbecues, banquets, and blowouts. For 40 years, we've saved you a lot. From a lot of hassles and a lot of gimmicks. Because saving is easy when saving is simple. So how much can you save in 40 years? It's right there on the sign. Save a lot. Savings made easy for 40 years.
Now at Save a Lot, save even more on tons of products throughout the store. Just look for the items marked new lower price and get yourself some savings.
Hey guys, Glover here on behalf of Harry's.com Shaving Supplies. Happy New Year to everyone. How about this for a New Year's resolution for 2018? Completely change the way you shave. Completely change the way you buy your shaving supplies. Everything's going to be better. Let's start out first with how you shave. The Harry's.com Shaving Supplies truly, guys, are so much better. Higher quality. That means every time you shave, you're going to notice the difference. The way you buy them is easier. You go to Harry's.com, you do the deal, they deliver them to your house, you can get replacement blades, you can get it on your schedule, and it's so much less money. So Harry's is so confident that you're going to love their blades and everything that they do that they want you to try their shave set for free. Just cover shipping when you sign up. Plus, as a special offer for fans of this show, go to Harry's.com right now and enter code DGS at checkout and get their soothing post-shave balm also free. Harry's.com, code DGS.
Bald eagles are coming.
And if you're eager to see them, don't miss Eagle Days at the Old Chain of Rocks Bridge. It's next Saturday and Sunday, January 13th and 14th from 9 to 3. This free family festival lets you view wild bald eagles through spotting scopes from the bridge and close up during live eagle programs. Explore a Lewis and Clark Living History Camp too. The historic Old Chain of Rocks Bridge is just south of I-270 and Riverview Drive. Dress for the weather, and to learn more, call 314-877-6014.
Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Beyond all the hospitals and doctors and surgeries they need just to survive, they also deserve whatever they need to truly live. All the in-home care and day-to-day help they need to live independently, on their own terms. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs were established to provide these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence, at no cost, for life. So many of them need us, and it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Find out how you can do your part at findwwp.org.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're struggling with your mortgage. You think about it all the time.
What are we going to do if we lose the house?
It's time to stop thinking and start dialing. Call 1-888-995-HOPE for a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options. We've helped over 1 million homeowners, and we want to help you. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
Keeping you informed and up to date.
Little Rocket Man. Nuclear button is on his desk at all times.
The president's weak. Kim Jong-un. My nuclear button is bigger than your nuclear button.
Protests growing more violent in Iran. The people of Iran are crying out for freedom.
The news and talk station for St. Louis.
Wind, plummeting temperatures.
Going to be a significant storm up along the East Coast.
FM News Talk 97.1.
And the intensity of the snow.
Younger, smarter.
This is one to be very careful about.
Better.
How much of my mother has my mother left in me? How much of my love will be insane to some degree? And what about this feeling that I'm never good enough? Will it wash out in the water, or is it always in the blood?
Talk lines are open now. 314-969-9797 or toll free 866-455-9797. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
Will I let this woman kill me or do away with jealous love? Will it wash out in the water, or is it always in the blood? I can feel the love I want, I can feel the love I need, but it's never gonna come the way I am.
Welcome back into the Annie Frey Show. We were talking earlier about the sleazy book written by Michael Wolff. And Geraldo was talking about how ridiculous it is to say that 100% of everybody who's around Donald Trump would say that he's unstable. Jake Tapper tweeted out, "My impression is not only would Eric and Don Jr. never say such a thing to anyone, they would never think such a thing, ever." So Donald Jr. Trump replied on Twitter and says, "Your impression is 100% correct, Jake. I have never and would never say such a thing. I doubt any others did either. I've seen my father do amazing things throughout my life, and always be successful. Anything he does well. For someone to say I said otherwise is libelous and vile. And then Donald Trump Jr. also tweets out, the more I hear about this book, the more I realize it's nothing more than a pathetic smear campaign. Literally nothing I have read regarding the campaign that I was a part of even remotely resembles what I actually witnessed. It will sell only because haters want to believe it. That's what we've been saying here on the Annie Frey Show. They are relying so desperately on painting this narrative of a person that is so false. But if you keep repeating a lie enough, with enough frequency, people begin to believe it's true. And then when something like this book hits the bookshelves in bookstores, they're so eager. They're just so excited for some facts to back up this thing that they've wanted to be true for so long. And then it turns out that it's not true. I haven't read the book, but I've read a lot of excerpts from it. I've seen a lot of interviews on it. And it's pretty clear that the majority of what is in there is patently false. And then anything that might have a semblance of truth to it, even the author Michael Wolff said himself that he had conflicting reports from different people, and he basically reconciled himself in his own mind to put together what he feels is actually accurate. I mean, don't fall for it, but I already know you're not falling for it. It's obvious because President Trump is President Trump. That's how he got into the office. And in 2018, if these hapless people in the media and these desperate politicians that are currently serving in Washington as Democrats continue to cling to this concept of painting President Trump as something that he isn't, they'll lose again. They absolutely will. Are we ready to do? Annie, are you okay? No, go ahead with it.
And now it's time to play Is Annie Okay With This?
Representative Tom Garrett is a freshman Republican congressman from Virginia. He's introduced new legislation that would known as the Student Security Act.
Student
Security Act has a nice ring to it. That would allow student loan borrowers to make an interesting choice. They would have the option to have some of their student loan debt forgiven in exchange for a higher Social Security full retirement age. Here's how it works. For every month the borrower agreed to raise his or her own Social Security full retirement age, they would receive a $550 student loan forgiveness. The plan would set a maximum amount of loan forgiveness at $40,000, $150, which would result in a delay of 6 years and 1 month for the recipient's Social Security age. According to the bill's text, it would also delay the early retirement age for the recipients, which is currently set at age 62, which you can claim a reduced benefit. So, for example, let's say that your full Social Security retirement age is 67 years, and you take advantage of $6,600 worth of student loan forgiveness under this program. Your full retirement age would now be 68 years old, and the earliest you would be allowed to reclaim full benefits is now 63. So that pushes your retirement age up quite a bit. The Social Security Administration estimates that these delayed benefits resulting from this plan would save Social Security about $700 billion over 75 years, but only about 11% of the projected funding shortfall. Annie, are you okay with putting off your retirement and taking these loan forgiveness of $550 a month on your student loan and then pushing off your age of retirement?
The one thing that I like about this thought, and from the article, it appears as though there is a cost benefit, and it's just not charity to people who have student loans. There is a trade-off here as a compromise. The thing that I like about this is that we had the Bernie Sanders movement, and Hillary Clinton had a modified version of it that wants to talk about free college for everybody. Well, I'm telling you that free college is not free. You will pay for it. You will just pay for it later. Just like healthcare, just the Affordable Health Care Act guarantees insurance companies that everybody must patronize them. So that immediately takes away a bit of the competition on price, where they have to work hard to provide the best opportunity for their customers, to the point where it's still lucrative for them, but also it's an advantage to you. That's a free market system. Free college? Oh, first of all, I think that the necessity of a college degree in this day and age is extremely overblown. The 4-year degrees that kids are getting right now are about 75% general studies and liberal indoctrination, and 25% core studies where you're actually in the subject matter that you want to, make a living off of. There's no real world information provided to students going into school and while they're there about you're going to spend $50,000 a year, which is probably, it can cost a lot more than that, but you can spend $50,000 a year on tuition for a 4-year degree that's going to pay you $45,000 when you get out of school. That's stupid. That's just not smart. But colleges and universities don't have any incentive to compete with other colleges and universities, because we have this big lie out there that basically tells anybody that if you don't get a college degree, you're never going to amount to anything. I know a lot of people who have trade skills who are amounting to plenty, that didn't need the 4-year degree. I know a lot of people who have 4-year degrees, master's degrees, additional degrees, and they're not even using them. But there's this lie out there that exists that you have to have these degrees in order to be successful. So the first thing we need to do is stop messaging to these kids in high school when you're 18. I'm telling you right now, yeah, you're a legal adult, but you don't know what you're doing. You have no life experience. You have no understanding of what a $50,000 a year loan is. You just don't. It's still on them if they sign the papers. Don't think that I'm saying that that's not actually their responsibility. But what I am saying is, from somebody who graduated college in 2006, graduated just enough time for the entire economy to bottom out, for there to be jobs exactly nowhere, for a lot of my friends who graduated who ended up having to go into different professions or completely change directions because the jobs just didn't exist that did exist maybe 3 or 4 years before we graduated college. How many articles have you read where it talks about my generation, the millennial generation, and the generation after us may not make it out better off than the generation before us, than our parents' generation? That's terrible. And the student loan debt situation that is out there is a real problem. I still think that if you took out a loan, you need to be responsible for that loan. But when you look as somebody, I'm 33 years old, I'm paying into Social Security. Do I feel like I'm going to retire relying on Social Security? No, absolutely not. I'm saving as much as I can while raising 3 kids so that I can provide for myself when it comes time to retire. But I'm still paying 8% into Social Security every paycheck. So if you are someone, and I personally don't have student loans myself, but if you are somebody who does have student loans and you're making gigantic payments every month that are probably barely bringing the principal down, if you can trade that for some of your future benefits from Social Security, I think it's interesting to look into. As I often say, Republicans and Democrats, you know what they can usually agree on? The problem. They can agree that there's a problem that exists, and then when we start talking about solutions, we run in the opposite directions. Bernie Sanders says, free college for everybody. You think that's going to make college costs go down? No. And do you think once you get out of college and you actually get a job, that you're not going to be paying for that in the taxes that come out of your paycheck? You definitely are. But this is the Student Security Act is an idea by a freshman representative, I think you said. Freshman representative, right? Yeah. And it's a way for people to say, I have this amount of debt now. I am going to retire at least on and pull my Social Security benefits out significantly later by taking up to the $40,000 maximum debt relief. And it's like $700 billion savings over 75 years. Now, I could read an article that's criticizing this and say, okay, well, there's some facts there, but I feel like this is the right start. This is the type of innovative thinking we need to be looking into. And we need to rethink the idea of higher level education, about how we prioritize it, how we pay for it, We need to make sure we're getting the value out of the dollars that we're investing in it. And I think if you can delay your Social Security benefits by just a hair over 6 years, that's a lot of money you're not taking out of the system when you're on Social Security, but when you get your job, you're still paying into it. So it's not like anybody's paying into it any less. But that student loan debt will be way less of a burden on those families. They'll be able to start using that money they were spending on their student loans for their own retirement, for saving, for providing for themselves, for their families, for investing in a new home, purchasing power. It's all good for the economy. I think we need to keep our eye on this. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a second at Annie Frey Show on Twitter. Stay tuned.
Rise above the flood, will it wash out in the water, or is it always in the blood?
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now. 314-969-9797 or toll free 866-455-9797.
Log on to 971talk.com/Allman and you can watch the show live on the Arrowhead Building Supply Studio Cam. Use your mobile device or computer to join the All in the Morning live stream. Arrowhead Building Supply Studio Cam, 971talk.com/Allman.
Come on down to Edwards Carpet Stores.
Hi, Mark Goldstein here for Edwards Carpet. Happy New Year, St. Louis. I'm hoping one of your resolutions was to replace some flooring in your home. If not, I hope I can get you to add it to the list. It's 2018 and manufacturers have all raised their prices, but right now you can still get 2017 prices. It might be cold outside, but these prices will help warm you up, and you can take advantage of 12 months interest-free financing. With the new year, there's been a lot of talk about taxes. Well, for a limited time, you'll pay no tax on your purchase from Edwards. The best tax is no tax. We have the largest selection of all the newest innovations in the business. Carpet, sheet vinyl, luxury vinyl tile, all the new multi-layered flooring, and more. Hurry into any of our 5 locations and get the flooring experience you deserve. Edwards Carpet, St. Louis's oldest locally owned and operated flooring business, serving you since 1939. Sale ends January 10th, and sorry, but previous sales are excluded.
Come on down to Edwards Carpet Stores.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum. That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, St. Louis, it's Brian Kilmeade with a reminder to join me each weekday morning from 9 till noon as we cover the biggest and hottest news of the day. We'll even mix in some fun. Kilmeade and Friends, weekdays at 9 a.m. on FM News Talk 97.1.
Get a fast car. I want a ticket to anywhere.
Talk lines are open now. 314-969-9797 or toll free 866-455-9797. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
Me, myself, I got nothing to prove.
Welcome back into the Annie Frey Show. I want to remind you about my podcasts. You can get my podcasts on iTunes if you're an iTunes user, if you're an Apple user, but you can also use Stitcher, which is an app for your Android phone, which I am a proud Android user. Stitcher. Download that, search Annie Frey Show, and you can listen to everything I put up there. When I visit on Jamie Allman's show, Mark Cox's show, Dave Glover's show, Randy Tolber's show, if I ever do any hits there, I always put them up there so you can listen, including this past week's Dave Glover's show, Think Tank, that I was on with Charlie Tuna and Crane Durham. It was a good one. So listen to that. Subscribe to the podcast and let me know what you think about it. This show will be up there as well. I'm going to take a quick couple phone calls. I don't have a whole lot of time, but Ben, thanks for calling the Annie Frey Show.
Oh, you're very welcome. I just wanted to call and touch base with what you were saying. I'm a plumber by trade. I'm actually on my way to a water break as we speak.
You've been busy.
And there's not enough of us. I mean, the average age of a plumber in St. Louis is 55 years old. It's 5 years of school. A lot of people don't realize that. And it's another 5 years working until you can take your master's test before you can go out. So it's 10 years.
Yeah.
And we cannot find a millennial willing to invest 10 years.
What do you think? Why do you think that is?
I'm making great money. I mean, I own my own business. So I'm $135 an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. And for these people to say, go to college. Okay, college wasn't for me. I'm third generation.
Yeah.
And it's just silly.
And
we are in a crisis.
We're never, ever, ever going to get to a place where we don't need plumbers. Ever.
Thank you. As long as you eat and drink, I got work. You're not sending my job to India or Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes some commitment, and I'm sure it's hard work, but you know what?
It is. It is hard work, and most plumbing companies will actually pay for your school.
Yeah.
There's government programs. If you're an African American, they will pay for your school. We cannot find anybody. I mean, I got my education through the union. I mean, that's the one thing I can say about unions.
Mm-hmm.
Their education system is second to none.
Sure, unions are great. Unions are great. It's when like publicly funded unions hijack the taxpayer, where most people get a little bit frustrated.
And I understand that. I mean, I'm no longer a union now. I had to get out in 06 when the budget crunched to either start my own business or lose everything.
Ben, you want to tell us what your business is? Named?
Sure, I'm Royal Plus Plumbing.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling in, and we appreciate you, and keep looking for millennials who can be willing to do some hard work and make a lot of money.
I mean, you can make a great living at this. And it's not just us, it's electricians, it's welders, it's diesel mechanics. We're all dying for help. We can't get it.
Yeah, I hear you. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate the call.
You're very welcome. Have a nice night.
You too. Here's, one frustrating thing about this is, who glamorized the college education? It was leftists. It's the liberal mindset where this elitist groupthink thing happens. I mean, raise your hand if you've had a well-rounded student that you sent to college and they came back as a liberal lunatic, and you're like, want to smack them across the face and say, "What the heck happened to you? You spend tens of thousands of dollars on indoctrination into your kid if you're helping them pay for it. They're taking out a loan, and how much of what they're getting is progressive indoctrination? It's frustrating. And meanwhile, there's skilled work out there that needs to be done. People need plumbers, they need electricians, and we're moving far away from that whole college, or being able to pay for college to get a degree that's going to actually get you a career. Ed, thanks for calling the show.
Hey, thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you? I don't have a whole lot of time here, so you got to make it brief.
Hey, well, Saturday Night Live and all the comics in America are going to get on Trump's behind for making a statement about being a stable genius.
Going to get on his behind. They've been riding.
I mean, Saturday Night Live, and all the late night political shows, I mean, that was such a statement that just took me off guard. And it seemed like you've been skating around that, not wanting to talk about that.
Not wanting to talk about what? I want to make sure I'm clear.
About Trump making a statement of him being a stable genius.
Well, what if I agree with that?
Oh, all right then. Well, you agree with that?
I think he's stable, and I think he's a genius.
And you think that was a legitimate statement for someone to say, just out of nowhere, basically?
Hey, Ed, I got no problem with him saying he's a stable genius, and I love it. Are you?
I leave that be.
Ed, thank you for calling the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm not sure where that was going, but I have an idea. Paul, thanks for calling the show.
Hey, Annie, love your program.
Thank you.
You know, it was drilled into us for so long, college education, to make good money. I made $122,000 last year. I'm a sales manager.
Yeah.
I did college for 1 year, and I was making more money as a salesperson than I would as going into the field I was going to go into, which would have been engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So that stereotypical type of you can't make without a college education is not true. Now, is one nice? Yes, of course it's nice.
Yeah.
But do it for something that pertains to something that you do.
When you need that extra education, like I have a mass communications degree in television and radio, and the truth of the matter is, I would say probably at least 50% of the people who I work around don't have college degrees, and we're all doing the same thing. It's in a lot of professions, you either got it or you don't. If you're going to be a surgeon, please do all of the schooling. Like, go invest, be the best surgeon you can be.
Definitely do that, yes.
Yeah.
And as far as the
right.
union goes, we dissolved our union this year. Everybody got a pay raise, and everybody gets better benefits now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Paul, thanks for calling the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Annie. Love your program.
Absolutely. Rodney, real quick, want to go ahead with your comment?
Me?
Yeah, go ahead, Rodney. You can turn your radio down.
I just wondering, everybody says Trump's crazy, but that's pretty true. I guess if you're a Democrat thinking he's crazy because he don't take a salary.
Yeah, he
you
does
don't hear
not.
nothing about that.
Well, actually, you know what? He didn't take a salary, but then he did take the salary, and now he donates to charities his entire check. He's a real big jerk, don't you think?
That's why the Democrats think he's crazy, because he's donating all his money.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I hear you. Thanks for the call, Rodney. I appreciate it.
All right.
Lynn, thanks for calling the show.
Hi. I appreciate the gentleman calling about the trade unions that need, employees. I would like to know, do they go to the high schools like they used to? And I know back in the 60s, they used to go to the high schools just like the colleges did to recruit people to come and, to recruit guys that used to go to shop and join the unions. But I haven't seen anybody.
I have a teacher in the back room. I'm going to ask him real quick. Do they bring trade union people in to talk to high schoolers? Just nod yes or no if you know. He says he doesn't know. Yeah, he's talking to me through soundproof glass. I don't hear about it. You see a lot of these career fairs and everything, and they do or they don't. What do they? Some schools do, some schools don't. I bet a lot of it has to do with the neighborhood. If it's a blue collar place, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But you're right.
They need to. The unions need to get in on that because they're missing out on a bunch of good people. Because there's plenty of kids that aren't, not qualified, but don't want to go to college.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
For last 12 years.
Thanks, Lynn, for the phone call. I appreciate it. It isn't for everybody, and that is okay. I don't want the best plumber in the world to spend a whole lot of money going to get a 4-year degree when he could be learning how to be a great plumber. We need to stop making that a priority. Stop it. Listen to the podcast and you can hear that awesome montage I played of the liberal meltdown after Donald Trump won. It's just absolutely wonderful. Thanks for listening to today. Podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, at Annie Frey Show on Twitter, Facebook.com/Annie Frey Show. Like the page, rate the show if you like it, and also 971talk.com/Annie. Everything is there. Thanks for listening. Downrange coming up next.
Give my remarks to all of the Trump haters, all of the Hillary Clinton supporters, all of the people that said that my Trump was gonna lose. So I say to you this morning, the day after the election,
When our infant son Liam needed a new heart, we turned to the SLU Care transplant specialist at SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. After months of waiting, he received a transplant on Christmas Day.
My match is my hero. He saved my life.
Today, Liam is stronger, happier, and healthier. Learn how organ donation can save lives. Visit cardinalglennon.com/transplant.
My husband Josh was born battling kidney disease
and struggled on dialysis for years. With the help of Slough Care transplant specialists at SSM Health St. Louis University Hospital, I discovered I was a match and could donate.
My match is my hero. She's also my wife.
Today, we're happy, healthy, and expecting our first baby. Learn how living kidney donation can save lives. Visit ssmhealth.com/transplant.
Happy New Year on behalf of Zero Res Carpet Cleaning, and I apologize in advance because the first month or so of this year are going to be talking a lot about New Year's and resolutions and starting out fresh and all that kind of stuff. For some of my clients, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but for Zero Res Carpet Cleaning, it makes absolute perfect sense. It's the time to start fresh, the time to start anew. I can think of 3 great reasons to get your carpets clean right now. 1, they're dirty and they look bad. Okay, that's the easiest one. 2, they're dirty and they're dirty. Because of gravity, all the nastiness of life falls down onto your carpets. And 3, it's cold and flu season, so anything you can do to make your home that much fresher and cleaner is going to be better for everyone. Right now, get a special price, $119 for 3 big rooms. You got to mention the DGS when you call. 314-474-2020 or ZeroResSTL.com. 314-474-2020. ZeroResSTL.com.
KFTK FM Florissant, KFTK AM East St. Louis, K254CR St. Louis. Powered by Window World. FM News Talk 97.1.
Working out details for the year ahead. I'm Joe Chiaro, Fox News. President Trump and congressional leaders are meeting this weekend at Camp David to define their 2018 legislative agenda. The president says a number of issues have already been talked about.
Security discussed, infrastructure discussed, military and all types of military situations and applications discussed. General Mattis is here. General Kelly, a lot of good military input, very important. Discussed funding for the military, which is so important.
The president also saying he wants to stop the influx of drugs into the U.S. Meanwhile, the president stepped up his attack on the author of a tell-all book that portrays him as incompetent.
This morning, the president at Camp David tweeted a response to that, saying, quote, "Actually, throughout my life, my 2 greatest assets have been mental stability and being, really smart. Crooked Hillary Clinton also played these cards very hard and, as everyone knows, went down in flames. I went from very successful businessman to top TV star to president of the United States on my first try. I think that would qualify as not smart, but genius, and a very stable genius at that."
Fox's Rich Edson. Temperatures tonight expected to plummet even further in the Northeast and Midwest. Wind chill warnings are up from Pennsylvania to northern Maine.
You're talking about a wind chill from -25 to -40. It's the type of wind chill that can cause frostbite in as little as 10 minutes.
Fox's Brian Yennis. Temperatures are expected to moderate a bit by Monday. The nation's oldest operating nuclear plant, Oyster Creek, New Jersey, has reduced its power after unusually low tides and high winds impacted the water levels in its intake canal. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather.
The official FM News Talk 97.1 Weather Center forecast. Increasing cloudiness tonight and cold, low 16, although temperatures rising late at night. Tomorrow cloudy with periods of rain for late morning on. The rain freezing on untreated surfaces for a time, so watch for slippery roads and sidewalks. High late tomorrow 38. Haze of rain tomorrow night mainly before midnight. Low near 32. This is meteorologist Bob Larson for FM News Talk 97.1.
Hey everybody, this is Phil with the Range St. Louis West. All firearm and personal protection training is not created equal. It's not where you get training that matters most, it's who you are trained by. The Range St. Louis West has the most qualified trainers in the area, including active and prior law enforcement, military, first responders, professional shooters, and NRA instructors. Get trained by the true experts at the Range St. Louis and Baldwin. To see our list of training courses, visit us at therangestl.com. That's therangestl.com. Are you ready?
Due to the recent drought and dry soil conditions, homes in our area are experiencing settlement problems within their home and foundation. Warning signs to look for are cracks in your foundation or exterior brickwork, plaster and drywall cracks and separation, sticking windows and doors, and separations around door and window openings. If your home is showing any of these signs, please call the foundation experts at Midwest Basement Tech. They're offering free foundation inspections to evaluate any problems that may be affecting your home's foundation and can provide you with repair recommendations and costs if repair is needed. The certified technicians at Midwest use only patented engineered products and offer a transferable warranty for your home's protection. They're now in their 40th year solving foundation and waterproofing issues on both sides of the river and have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Call Midwest Basement Tech today and take advantage of winter pricing, and financing is available. Call 800-848-9805. That's 800-848-9805 or visit MidwestBasementTech.com.
Hi, I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times, and there's one thing I see everywhere: childhood hunger. The sad truth is that 17 million kids struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers up surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Fox on Family.
Ask my tween daughter how her day was, and you may get a one-word answer. But ask her 9-year-old brother about his favorite video game, and he might never stop talking. And that's one of the secrets to getting your kids to open up.
If they're interested in video games, you have to start knowing and learning a little bit about the video games.
Licensed professional counselor Rusty Lozano says take an interest in their interests so you can speak their language.
And you can tell by their energy level and by their enthusiasm how vested they are in what you're discussing.
He knows one mom who has bedtime chats in the dark, which can be a friendly environment.
And a lot of times children may kind of gauge whether or not they can talk about a certain topic by your reaction, by the look on your face.
Trying to keep lines of communication open from a young age, Lozano urges parents to really listen and keep the response as non-judgmental as possible. And try not to ask yes or no questions, which works for grown-up conversations too. With Fox on Family, I'm Lisa Brady.
The news of the day.
8 to 12 inches of snow up along the East Coast.
Very cold temperatures.
Minus 13 degrees.
Every day.
Did Steve Bannon betray you, Mr. President?
He called me a great man last night, so, he obviously changed his tune pretty quick.
The book is completely untrue.
Stupid president.
That's a hell of a statement coming from Bannon.
St. Louis's FM News Talk.
Completely false claims against the president.
FM News Talk 97.1.
We'll see what happens with Mr. Bannon.
Younger, smarter.
To confront
Iranians.
Better.
This is Downrange with John and Ron. Certified NRA instructors John Henderson and Ron McCain from the Range St. Louis West take you inside the world of firearms and personal protection. This is Downrange, the radio show that asks,
Are you ready?
Welcome back to Downrange with John and Ron, the show that helps you answer the question, are you ready? And if you're outside right now, I hope you are ready.
Holy cow. I'm sitting here watching. I'm wearing my cap. Frank's over there in his cap with his ear gear on. He's got his hands rubbing over there on that little. I noticed the space heater is over there by him. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. So much for the talent being taken care of. I guess we know where the talent is.
The talent is being taken care of. It's all in Frank. So
happy stinking New Year!
Yeah, happy 2018, right? So it is. We're going on like 2.5, 3 weeks of this constant cold.
Isn't this nice?
So,
it's like we live in Minnesota. Eh?
No, it's in Minnesota's like this every day. I talked to a buddy of mine up there, and their wind chill was minus 28.
Oh,
so
man.
Yeah, we're not quite there. Our wind chill is in the zeros and, maybe minus 5.
It's cold.
I asked him, I said, well, what do you do about equipment? Because equipment doesn't work, when it's, 20 degrees below zero. He goes, yeah, it's an issue. And, he's like his truck will start, but his little mule for like plowing snow and stuff, yeah. He has to get it in the garage and warm it up and get the battery charger on it and all that stuff.
Remember the movie Fargo when, the beginning of the movie, she gets called out of bed and he gets up and makes her some eggs, so she has some breakfast before she leaves, and she goes outside to leave and comes back in and says, hon, crawler won't start. So that's like an everyday thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's cold, so stay warm, and we're going to cover that a little bit later and show some cold weather preparedness items, because if you get caught out in this, we go to and from our vehicles, and from our vehicles we drive, and then we go into the office building or in your house. But if you're out in this for a period of time, it gets pretty brutal. Well,
just think about it. You and I were talking about it this morning while we were headed to breakfast. It's like, okay, car goes down, ain't going to start again. We're walking now for 2 miles. Can we do that?
Yeah, with what you have on you and what you have on you. So we'll talk about that more.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about some local stories as far as some of the crime going on and so forth. What's going on at the range. Then we're going to talk about a bunch of new gun stuff, because that's just typical with the industry. January gets here, SHOT Show's around the corner, and everybody starts rolling out or starts teasing their new offerings when it comes to the gun industry.
Go over some of that stuff.
Yep.
I liked your comment, that article that you said you read about the guy, what he hated about the gun industry.
Yeah.
Tell everybody what that was.
So I do not remember the gentleman's name. He says he hates the gun industry because they wait till January to roll out all the new cool stuff.
After Christmas.
Yeah, after Black Friday and after Christmas, when everybody else rolls everything out prior to that.
Right.
But the gun industry sort of revolves around SHOT Show and the NRA show. SHOT Show happens in January, NRA shows in the summer.
Right.
So that's the two big industry shows, and there's other ones that are smaller, and there's distributor shows if you're working the industry that happen in January. Some of them in August, but so that sort of defines the industry as far as new products and creating
we got
the buzz.
3 or 4 lucky guys from the range that are headed out there in January.
Yep.
Worse places to be than Las Vegas when it's minus 5 in St. Louis, right?
Well, my son was home from California from the Marine Corps, and when he left, it was 70 degrees. When he got in the vehicle at the airport, it's 18. And when I dropped him off at the airport, it was 6. When he got back, it was 65.
Yeah.
So, it's a big difference depending upon where you are.
So stay warm, be careful, be ready.
And we appreciate everybody listening in 2017. It's our first full calendar year of doing this. So we look forward to another one in 2018.
So what did Santa Claus bring you? This is our first show since Christmas.
I got the largest lump of coal you've ever seen.
I
been
believe
heating
that.
the house for 4 weeks now.
I believe that. I did not get my Blackhawk.
So
so I'm trying to be better this year so I can get my Blackhawk next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you're Santa Claus. You're not getting a Blackhawk. So.
But I didn't even get like a model
yourself,
Blackhawk.
So.
Somebody could have at least given me a Blackhawk model, right?
All right. Well, what do we got going on locally, Ron?
Do we want to talk about some stuff in the news first, or do we want to talk about some of the training stuff we got going on? January's a great month to train. We're
a busy month for us.
Big believers in training, and we had a couple of big sales there in Christmas time. A lot of people took advantage of, and so we're filling up these training classes fast in January. So if there's something that you're interested in taking, you definitely need to go to our website, therange.stl.com. Visit our Facebook page, The Range St. Louis West. Give us a call, 636-220-1300. Come see us, 14803 Manchester Road in Baldwin, right next to Velasquez Park there. And let's talk about training. Now's a great time of year to do that. You got several things that are going for you that help with that training. We're wearing layers of clothes now, so we can talk about how you're carrying that firearm, what firearm you're carrying, how to draw from that concealment, how to use that firearm in those situations, and how really to use those tools that you've got at your disposal better when you're layered up and
a lot of people
don't
think about it. But if you got on good winter coat and a couple layers, it may be hard to draw that concealed firearm. I got a new coat this week and was actually experimenting with it earlier on Thursday of how can I easily access my concealed carry firearm, because it does have the zipper sides, so you can actually do that. But so you've got to really think about that, because it's going to be a slower process than when you're wearing a T-shirt and shorts.
Yep. Well, and there are little tricks that we can show you that are going to make you more effective with that, Even as one of the things that I really like about the winter is it makes it easier for me to carry that second firearm, if that makes sense. You
mean the 12-gauge shotgun that you keep under your coat?
Well, it's a TAC-14 now because it's a little smaller, right? But there are advantages to those layers, but there are certainly disadvantages. But the bottom line is, we believe in helping our nation, our communities, our families to be safer and better, and we do that by helping people to be self-sufficient and self-reliant and to be ready, one person at a time. We trained how many people last year? Over 2,200?
Over 2,200 people last year.
That's 2,200 people that are on my team, right?
Yeah, it's 2,200 people that are better prepared to protect themselves.
Makes me feel really good. Makes me and how many? And at least half of those were female students.
I'd have to go look, but yeah, I would
huge number. I'd
be shocked if it wasn't at least half female.
Yeah.
That's just the way the industry's going right now. So,
but training is important, and well, you see it. Did you see that Carondelet sports bar situation? Bad deal. 3 people got shot. Couple of bystanders, but 2 guys at 8:00 in the evening walked into a sports bar over in Carondelet, wanted to rob the place, and shot a 67-year-old female bartender.
And what did she do?
She shot back.
I love it.
And they went running out of the store. Don't know if she actually hit anybody, but she fought back. And
so again, as soon as they encountered resistance, what do most bad guys do?
They're out the door. They're cowards.
They fold and retreat. So
exactly.
We see that time and time, even in these mass shootings.
Yep.
As soon as significant resistance is encountered, they stop what they're doing. So.
Yeah. So kudos to her. We talked about this last week. Remember when or actually it was 2 weeks ago when we were last in studio, but we talked about those thieves at Target that used a hammer and stole a bunch of iPad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a situation at a dollar store where some employees tried to stop someone who was shoplifting. Physical altercation took place, and a number of the employees got stabbed because of that. And so, you have to choose your fight. I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what was going on, but don't get yourself hurt over stuff, right? So
gear's replaceable. People aren't.
And I'm not putting any blame whatsoever on those employees.
Well, that's sort of their job.
That's exactly right.
So
it's definitely the bad guy's fault.
Absolutely.
But you just need to be.
But again, you need to be prepared
for that stuff
and realize that you might get some violent resistance if you decide you're going to stop the shop.
It can escalate quickly. We've talked about that before too. And then sadly, on New Year's, a couple of guys sitting in a car. One of them was playing with his gun and accidentally shot and killed his buddy. And
because he thought the gun was empty
and hadn't trained and practiced with it.
Violated one of the rules. He pointed the gun at somebody and pulled the trigger, even though he thought it was empty. I checked it; it was empty.
That's
right?
2 rules he violated.
But you just don't do that. We had that happen last year, several months back, with a man and his daughter. You just don't point the loaded gun at somebody.
That is not
a story.
It's not a toy. It's a tool, and you need to respect it, and you need to understand how it works. But I'm not totally what's the word that I'm looking for? Bereaved. Bereaved is the wrong word. So help me out here, because you actually read an article that says since 2000 or from 2000 to 2015 there were 200 million guns sold or something, some crazy number like that.
So from 2000 to 2016 we sold a record number of guns. So it's a 16-year period, but
there are a ton more firearms that were sold during that period than ever before. I don't remember the number exactly, but the stat that you shared with me that was the most impressive was the dramatic decrease in accidental.
There was only
489
accidental gun deaths, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's
still
huge.
Too many. Still too many.
But over 300 million firearms were sold between 2000 and 2016.
Yeah.
So 300 million firearms entered the market. We had 500 accidental gun deaths.
Yeah. Still too many.
It is, but it's sort of, and that's like a 50% reduction, right? So
yeah.
That just sort of throws out the argument that guns are what's killing people.
Guns are not. It's not the tool. It's the tool, right? I always kind of use that verbiage. So anyway, and then carjackings, we've seen those continue to be an issue.
We had a couple of carjackings here in St. Louis recently.
Well, one of them there are a couple of them that really upset me. One of them ended with the bad guy crashing the car and getting caught after a chase, but actually was at the gal's window and used his gun to tap on her window and to say, "Get out of the car." 18-year-old kid did that to a female, real brave guy. Yep. And the one that really, really bothered me, though, was the gal that on one of those super cold mornings arms full of baby and stuff, goes out to the car, puts her child in the car, runs back to the house to lock the door, which is literally 10 yards away or less, turns around and the guy's getting in her car driving off with her baby in the back seat. Ended up stopping it, he did the right thing and stopped at the house and put a baby on the front porch and rang the doorbell, and thank goodness somebody was home because it was
especially in this
super
weather.
cold. But it can happen that fast. So just be aware, folks, that cars are a target right now out there, and you need to be aware of what's going on around you. And speaking of that, that's one of the I'm going to run through our training schedule here real quick for January. We're doing an anti-carjacking seminar later in the month. That's actually on the 27th. And on that same day, we're going to do a basic hand-to-hand fundamentals course, which is imperative. We talked about the shoplifter situation. Hand-to-hand skills would have been great there. But starting with today, we just finished up our first CCW class of the year. It was overbooked.
Yeah, it was overfull.
Boy, Phil and Dustin just did a great job with that class. But tomorrow we're going to have a basic handgun skills course. That one actually is full as well. And then on the 8th, guys and guns. So guys, bring your toys out and shoot them. Shoot our toys. It's only $45. After we do some shooting and some move and shoot, scoot and shoot stuff, you're going to drink some beverages, adult beverages, and have some meat and cheese. It's a great night out with the fellas. And then January 10th, our first Girls Just Want to Have Guns event of the year. Ladies, if you're familiar with your firearms or you're thinking about getting into firearms, never touched one before, great event for you. You get an hour's worth of really solid training, an hour's worth of shooting a number of different firearms, and then you get to enjoy some wine and cheese and cakes and visit. And really, really good opportunity there to have a nice social atmosphere tied with some really valuable training and getting familiar with what a firearm is and how to shoot one. So, and then on January 11th, we're doing a new owner orientation course that we give away to anybody that buys a gun from us. Shows you how to take that gun apart and put it back together. If you've got one that you want to bring, it's $45. Actually, I think that one's sold out too. We actually added a second instructor to that one.
That one's overbooked we had to expand that class because it's overbooked by 250%. So there's also another one on February 8th.
February 8th, right.
Yep.
And then we're going to do another CCW class on the 15th of January. Hey, the 13th and 14th, that 2-day AR Armorers course, if you want to learn how to build an AR, take yours apart. That's a fantastic course to take. And then we've got Low Light on the 19th, and we'd already talked about anti-carjacking and hand-to-hand on the 27th. So lots of opportunity to train.
All right, so Frank's giving us a sign here. We're coming up against hard break, so we're going to pause for a moment and come back. We'll talk about some of the new guns, new toys coming out in the industry, and some of the new stuff we've got at the range, as well as some cold weather prep, which is very appropriate for the time.
Absolutely.
So you've been listening to Downrange on 97.1 FM.
Check out The Range St. Louis West online at therangestl.com.
Hey folks, Jamie Allman here. Download the free Next Radio app on your phone and listen to live local FM radio. It's now available on all smartphones. Go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the app today. Next Radio, an affiliate of MS Communications.
St. Louis's most aggressive lease and financing offers are available now at the Gateway Area Acura dealers. Award-winning performance luxury at an affordable price. Shop the entire lineup now at GatewayAreaAcuraDealers.com. Like the new 2018 Acura MDX, RDX, or TLX, all named Consumer Guide's 2018 Best Buys. Schedule a test drive today to see for yourself while reviews are raving about Acura. Shop and save at GatewayAreaAcuraDealers.com. That's GatewayAreaAcuraDealers.com.
Hey, Tim Jones here for Universal Windows Direct. It's the season of giving, but that doesn't mean you should be heating the outside more than the inside of your home. You do not have to suffer through one more winter in a cold and drafty home. Call my guys at Universal Windows Direct. Universal Windows are specifically made to perform in our unpredictable climate. They have this cool aerospace technology, Super Spacer, keeps the edge of the glass warmer, holds the window seal longer, and helps the windows last up to 5 times longer than windows without it. You get the best windows for your home within your budget. They perform better, they last longer, plus they back it up with a true lifetime warranty for as long as you own your home and 30 years to the next homeowner. It's not too late to make sure you're comfortable this winter, and Universal Windows Direct is making it easy with this great offer. For every window you buy, the next window is free, no limits, 0% financing for 36 months, plus free installation. Call to schedule your free in-home estimate today, 314-878-0300, 314-878-0300, or go to universalwindowsstlouis.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Gravity is only a suggestion. Physics is just a theory. Impossible is merely an opinion. Monster Jam, celebrating 25 years of adrenaline-charged family entertainment and selling out stadiums across the country. Tickets are on sale now. Monster Jam returns with 2 huge shows coming to the Don't Let America Center March 3rd and 4th. Don't miss out. Lock in your seats today. For tickets and show details, visit monsterjam.com today.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem I can't fight alone: childhood hunger. 17 million kids in America struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Man, last night we put on an epic light show.
So epic.
The crowd loved us.
Wait, there were only 4 people out there.
Yeah, but did you see their 4 faces? Their eyes lit up brighter than ours, and we're fireflies.
Yeah, we are.
And we're gonna be out here rocking out our light show at a forest near you, so come check us out.
Check us out.
Whether you're rocking their world or they're rocking yours, some memories never fade. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Keeping you informed and up to date.
Little rocket man. Nuclear button is on his desk at all times.
The president's tweet, Kim Jong-un, my nuclear button is bigger than your nuclear button.
Protests growing more violent in Iran.
The people of Iran are crying out for freedom.
The news and talk station for St. Louis.
Wind, plummeting temperatures.
Going to be a significant storm up along the East Coast.
FM News Talk 97.1.
And the intensity of the snow.
Younger, smarter.
This is one to be very careful about.
Better.
Contact John and Ron via email, downrange@therangestl.com.
Welcome back to Downrange with John and Ron. So before we get started, I know everybody's going to find this difficult to believe, but I have to correct Ron again.
This is the first time this year?
No. We're 5 days into the year, 6 days into the year. It's already happened multiple times. But so Guys and Guns, he had the date right. The cost was incorrect. It is $60. Girls with Guns is $45.
My apologies.
If you got any questions about any of the training courses he talked about or anything that we do at the range, just call us at 636-220-1300. Email us at downrange@therangestl.com, or just come on by at 14803 Manchester Road there in Baldwin, right next to Blasses Park. So good Christmas season for the industry overall. I know the range, we were super busy all of December. Lots of people buying guns, shooting guns, doing training, so forth. Really appreciate everybody's support throughout the year. It was our second full year in business. It was a good year for us, even though things were a little bit harder in the industry, I guess. But we really had fun this year. Did a lot of good things. Like you said, trained over 2,200 people. So that's huge in my book. That's almost double from our first year.
Well, that's really why we're there, right?
Right. So yeah, it's such a huge part of it. So it was good. So we had a really good time. Appreciate everybody's support. And as is usual, the gun industry rolls out all their new stuff in January, and some of the stuff that is either out or is being teased. I guess I want to start with the Beretta M9A3.
I knew you were going to say. I knew you were starting
been out for several years, but it's not really been readily available.
Yep.
And apparently, whatever they've done, it's now readily available at just about every place. So we've got those in stock now. And the more I look at that gun, evaluate that gun, the more I like it.
I can't believe it's not in your holster at your house. Well, first of all, flat dark earth, which it's the hot color, right?
Right.
It's a threaded barrel, right? It's basically a military version of that firearm.
But it's got a much better grip on it. The
Yeah,
frame
it
on it's just much better. So,
but the Beretta M9A3, and I mean it's not a cheap gun. It's about $1,000. But you talk about a workhorse gun. I mean, and
that more or less was their entry to the military to improve the M9.
Right.
And attempt to keep that contract and not have it go to the selection system that it went to, which ultimately it did, and they ultimately chose the SIG. So,
I love it.
Speaking of military handgun contracts and them choosing the SIG, there's another one that is being rolled out now.
What's that?
That was part of the military handgun trials.
I know what you're talking about. It's got a number and a letter in it.
The Glock 19X.
So the X Factor.
So if you haven't seen that is also in FDE, even though they call it a different color, but it is basically a 17 slide on a 19 frame.
Yeah, it's got the longer slide on the shorter frame.
With some of the Gen 5 features in it. And
yeah.
So it is different.
Yep.
So if you're a Glock person, then that's one to look at.
I would have one of those, but I'm thinking out loud right now, I own a 19 and I own a 17. Why wouldn't I just make my own? I wonder what the 19 slide would look like on the 17 frame. I'm going to try that later. In fact, I want to try that with yours and shoot it, see what happens. And then before I decide what to do with mine.
But so that's another one out, and I don't remember what's the price point on that? Do you remember?
I can't off the top of my head. I think it's a $600.
I think it's around $600
gun, but it's one of those things. That's like I like the concept. But however, I don't know why I wouldn't just have a 17 instead of wanting a 19X. Right? Why not have that bigger?
Well, there are some other differences.
There are some,
and we won't get into all those details, but there are some other differences to it. It's not just a swap.
I think it comes with one flush mount 15-round mag, and then 2 extended mags that hold 17 or 19.
No, it's the full 17 rounder to start out because it's the 17 frame with the 19.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a cool looking pistol, man. I'm looking forward to get my hands on that too.
I'm sorry, it's a 19 frame with a 7. Anyway, it's an interesting gun. It'd be interesting to see it and get to play with it and shoot it, just see how it does.
Amen. Oh, speaking of Glocks, they're they've had that Gen 5 out for a couple of months now, and it's only been available in 17 and 19. But they announced that they're this year going to make a Gen 5 version of the 34, which is the basically it's the competition 9mm, the long slide. And the Glock 26, which is the baby Glock, they're going to make both of those in Gen 5.
Yep,
it's coming out. So, and that Gen 5, they've made some nice improvements versus the 4. I do really like the tapered slide, especially from a reholstering standpoint. And you know how much I like my FNs, but they kind of went to an FN style grip where they got rid of those finger grooves, and I like that better than a finger groove.
You could say they just went back to a Gen 3 style grip.
A little bit, and left the Gen 4 texturing on it.
Yeah.
Right?
So.
Yeah.
But so Ruger, as always, continues to introduce new products. So a couple of interesting things. They got the EC9S, which is sort of the entry version of the LC9.
Yep, and that's a sub. I think that's less than $300.
Yeah, it's like a $300.
Yep.
So decent little gun. They got the
nice little single stack concealed carry gun.
Yep. They got the Ruger Security 9, which is a double stack internal hammered fired. I guess it's similar to the LCP hammer system, trigger system.
They kind of took the LC9 or
LCP
or the LCP. Yeah, they kind of took that LCP operating system and put it in a bigger gun.
And again, it's a very affordable gun as well, but it's a double stack 9mm. Looks good. I have not actually touched that one yet to play with it, but it seems like it's going to be a decent little gun, especially at that price point. You always have to keep in mind everything is relative to price point.
Sure.
So,
I think next week we should do a show on, if you only had X amount of dollars to spend on your first gun, what would you do?